Hello and welcome back to the channel, guys. And before we get into everything, I just want to say a huge sorry for missing week 3 of the Premier League predictions. Life has been pretty chaotic at the moment. I'm not going to say too much else onto the matter, but I am here with week 4 predictions. I will later be recording week 5 as I do go away on holiday on Sunday, so I'll be doing week 5 as well. So yeah, uh, not going to beat around the bush. Going to get straight into it with the 12:30 kickoff on the Saturday, and it is Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. This will be a tough test for both teams. To be fair, both teams coming into this game on the back of a loss. Arsenal, and do you know what? I'm going to say yes. They lost 1-0 to Liverpool. It doesn't sound like much, but you gotta agree with what Gary Neville says. Like, this Arsenal team under Arteta never know how to win the big games. Yes, you watch them against, say, teams like, I'm not saying Forest are a small team, but Forest or your likes of Fulham and your mid-table downwards team, and they'll dominate them. Yeah, they'll beat them, but they never seem to know how to beat Liverpool or City on a consistent basis. It's almost as if, like, I watched the game and the first half was a snooze fest. It was so boring. Um, and it was almost as if Arsenal just went to Anfield and went, yeah, we're happy with a point. That's not going to win your league titles, unfortunately. It's not. You've got to take points off your main rivals, and Arsenal just haven't been able to do that in the last few seasons. Forest, now, I put 2 Forest players in my fantasy football team for this week, for last week, sorry, thinking West Ham at home, easy 3 points for Forest. As much as I hate to say that, West Ham turned up at City Ground, 3-0 win. What the hell? After, especially after West Ham's first 2 games, you couldn't see past the Forest win. But yeah, I loved looking at that result after I finished work on Sunday. Um, so yeah, score predictions for this one. I do think Arsenal are going to have too much for Forest. I'm going Arsenal 3, Forest 1. The first of the 3 o'clock kickoffs on the Saturday, we've got Bournemouth versus Brighton. Bournemouth went to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and came back with all 3 points, which is a GG on Bournemouth's point of view. Uh, Brighton, um, they beat Man City to inflict back-to-back defeats for City, 2-1 in a dramatic 2-1 win. Again, this one is a tough one because you think come end of the season these two are going to be fairly similar places. Um, I'm going for a home 2-1 victory. I think Bournemouth will come out winners. The second of the 3 o'clock kickoffs, Crystal Palace versus Sunderland. Obviously, big talking point of the transfer window. Uh, on Palace, both. Uh, I say both. Eze left last week, but they did keep hold of Mark Gahey, which is huge. Um, I think just because Palace couldn't replace him. Fair crops to Palace. Given the transfer window, I thought they would struggle, and they went to Aston Villa and beat them 3-0. Like, crazy, absolute crazy. So whatever Glasner is doing there is clearly working for Palace. Sunderland again at the Stadium of Light, won at home. Last gasp 2-1 victory against Brentford. Um, I do think the promoted sides are going to struggle away from home this season. Um, so I'm going for a 2-0 Crystal Palace win. And don't worry, Marshall, I will keep Crystal Palace players out of my fantasy football team for you because I do seem to be a curse. Um, Next up, we've got Everton versus Aston Villa. Um, Everton were involved in, I believe, the highest scoring game of that week. 3-2 winners at Wolves to pile more misery on the Midlands side. As we mentioned just before, Villa got smashed by Palace. I think Everton are going to make this new stadium a fortress. I think they've yet to lose there, um, or even drop points there. You know, I think they've only played one home game there, league game, and they won in the cup. So I think Everton are going to pile more miserably. Stop saying miserably. More misery on Villa. I'm going for a 2-1 Everton win. Fulham versus Leeds United. Uh, Fulham, what can you say about their last game? Two major talking points. Um, well, the major talking point was Fulham should have took the lead. I mean, I missed the game. I have watched the highlights. How you can deem that a foul in the build up to Fulham's disallowed goal is absolutely beyond me. VAR is an absolute joke. Get VAR out of the game because this is supposed to be a system that you know makes up for the mistakes that referees make, and we're still coming to the wrong conclusion. Absolute dumbfounded. Like genuinely, scrap VAR. I was never a fan of it anyway. I've never been a fan of it. Get rid of it. If teams lose to referees making a mistake, that's human error. That yeah, it doesn't make it right, but at the same time, if you've got backup to make these things, right, and still come into the wrong outcome, what is the point? And you got to agree with what Anthony Robinson, I think Anthony Robinson, took to Instagram and said the same thing. What's the point? Um, as for the away side, they drew 0-0 against Newcastle last time out. This one, I think Fulham are going to make amends for last week and are going to come out 1-0 victors. Then we've got Newcastle versus Wolves. As just mentioned, Newcastle drew 0-0 against Leeds. Uh, Wolves lost 3-2 against Everton. Um, and obviously, finally, the transfer saga over Isak done. Finally, the transfer saga over Vissa done. Newcastle got their man. Newcastle sold Isak. I can't see Wolves coming away with anything here. I'm going Newcastle 2, Wolves 0. Then we've got the first of two London derbies. We've got West Ham versus Spurs. Obviously, West Ham went to Forest last week and smashed them. And Thomas Frank's side suffered his first loss of his regime. This is a tough one. Is this something that sparks West Ham? Is it something that's going to hinder Spurs? I'm going to sit on the fence here, and I'm going West Ham 1, Spurs 1. Next up, and the 8 o'clock kickoff, the final game of Saturday. Brentford versus Chelsea. Obviously, Brentford lost 2-1 at Sunderland. Chelsea beat Fulham 2-0. This is a tough one to predict. I think it's going to be a tight game. And I'm slightly leaning towards Chelsea. I don't know why. I'm going Brentford 0, Chelsea 1. Then moving on to the Sunday, got Burnley versus Liverpool. Now, Burnley were really unfortunate to go to Old Trafford and not come away with anything. United obviously scored a last-minute penalty. Liverpool, obviously, with that 1-0 win against Arsenal. What a free kick, by the way, by Szoboszlai. Like, unbelievable free kick to beat a goalkeeper of David Raya's quality from that far out. Unreal. Again, it's hard to see anything other than a Liverpool win, so I'm going Burnley 0, Liverpool 2. Then the main event of the round of fixtures, the Manchester derby. City obviously lost 2-1 United snuck past Burnley 3-2. Again, this is just, I mean, derby games are always tough to predict, aren't they? Form goes out the window. You wouldn't put it past United to go to the Etihad and inflict three consecutive defeats on City. Um, However, I'm going to play it sensible. I do think City will have too much quality for United. I'm going for City 2, United 1. And that is my round 4 predictions. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, guys. Your support is much appreciated. And I'll see you next time for round 5.